All right, here we are.
We are live from Montenegro village, Montenegro Uncom village, or New
Right
Athlete
after
village.
New athlete event number 2 in October. It's been an amazing time. Finally met Marcel after connecting online.
Yeah, for a while. It's
And
surreal. It's a real experience. It's my second month this year in the villages, and can't say enough about it. It's just so different than the online world.
nothing can really give it justice. What has also changed my life, my business, my training, my coaching has been all the real life meetings. It just has a different power when you meet someone live in person. It has a different impact. The words meeting Keegan in person is really impactful, and the whole experience are not only the things that are in the schedule of an actual event, but all the conversations that happens in between and the shared moments. It's intense, but you win life. The purpose of this podcast or this talk is to talk about how parkour has impacted our sportsmanships, athleticism, our view on the human body,
and on the world itself, and sort of how we're tying our past on our training into what we're trying to build with New Athlete. And I think it's been very interesting coming from the world of parkour, just connecting and being around parkour people, to connect with other sports and put ourselves into the perspective of what other people are doing, and how other people are standing athletically and physically compared to ourselves, and what are our strengths and weaknesses, and likewise for the others. So in this podcast we're gonna cover our story, how we got to where we are, and what we've experienced here, and what's ahead.
Yeah, how it ties into the New Athlete philosophy, its system, and how you can actually develop this and get value to your own training. So you want to start with, you have quite an amazing story from parkour.
Yeah, I'm coming from a background of a few years of ice hockey and snowboarding, and I've tried a lot of team sports, but it was never really my thing growing up. And when I first saw parkour on the internet, and I first saw people doing acrobatics and flips, I was originally with snowboarding, and I really wanted to be a professional snowboarder, but wasn't quite fortunate with the snow and the mountainside. So when I first found parkour, I was like, oh, that's something I can do, and I don't need anything for it, and that's what really drew me towards it. But I remember briefly first seeing it, just like, no, it's not for me. I can't do that. It's impossible for me. Like, how do you even start? And somehow I remember one summer on a summer holiday with my family. There was a trampoline in a campground where we were staying, and I was like, oh wow, that's my chance to learn how to do a flip. And I remember just spending hours there trying to throw myself over my head, and somehow I learned how to do a backflip on trampoline. But in my head it was still like, okay, I can only do this on a trampoline, so it doesn't really count. It's not the real thing. But another year went on, and I thought I tried to do a backflip into water, and I had my friend there with me, and I showed him kind of how to do it, and we started doing it together. And then even a year later, I think I was probably 14, he challenged me outside by a lake to just try a backflip in the sand, and I was like, go ahead, I want to see it. Like, you know, way you're gonna break your neck. And he did it right there in front of me in the sand, and I was like, oh my god, like, insane. Like, I've never seen anyone do a backflip in real life before, so it was quite shocking. But seeing him do it, I was like, if you can do it, I can do it too, because I showed you how to do this in the first place. So it was a long journey for me of standing knee deep in water in the lake, because that was the only spot where I kind of felt safe, that if I fall on my head, I'm not gonna break my neck. And it took me half an hour to actually commit to it. And when I jumped and committed to it, I made it around and landed kind of on my knees. And I was like, oh, I didn't die. So I tried again and tried to gradually make my way, try to make my way towards the shore, and eventually did it on the sand, and eventually did it on the grass. And I remember that day was the best day of my life. I still say it until this day, because it really felt like something completely flipped inside of me. Like, I grew up very shy and didn't really believe in myself much, and never really tried anything very hard. And just proving myself wrong with doing the backflip, which I kind of viewed before as impossible to do on the ground for myself. I was like, wow, like, what else can I do with my life? And that led me onto a journey of not just pushing myself athletically to a very high level, and finding something I'm super passionate about, and pushing myself physically. But it also really transferred itself into my personal life. I started to push myself in other aspects, like try to speak to people more, and try to be more interested to learn new things, and believe that I can actually learn new things if I set my mind to it. So that was a very eye-opening moment through the physical journey that then impacted my personal journey on a very high level.
Do you want to go more specific in on, like, how was the training for you, back in the day? Like, did you watch YouTube and just go out and try things? Were you with a pack of people that were training together? Like, how did that work out? Did you see things on a magazine, or?
Yeah, in the first days, it was like I learned how to do backflips. I just was doing backflips all the time, and
alone, or
alone and with my friend. Yeah, I learned it and unlearned it a few times when I first learned it. I just kind of, as I became more confident with doing it, I started messing up the technique, and then I started landing on my knees, and suddenly I was like scared again. So it was like back and forth journey before I broke through and could do it consistently. But I started trying side flips and front flips. I got these foam pads from my dad's work, and I was just flipping into them. So we had no gym or anything when we first started. But then I moved for high school to a bigger city, and I met some other people that did parkour, and they invited me to the gymnastics gym where they had open gym sessions. So that's where I had the environment to start training a bit more on a higher level. But like the first year, it was just a lot of grass tricks and jumping over rails and climbing on walls and trees and watching a lot of YouTube and just trying to replicate whatever I saw. That was the first years. How was the beginning for you? How did you first find it?
So I was always the different kid, very active, so much energy. I was always climbing every tree, every wall, kind of just exploring physically. And I went to sports schools where I started with doing competitive taekwondo, that became competitive swimming. Mm-hmm. And I got so tired of that rigid routine of going, every week to the trainer, to the coach, having that very strict schedule. And I remember I saw then that French movie called District 13, where David Bell was in. That was like the typical movie that introduced parkour to so many people, to the world in general. And I remember seeing that, and I was just blown away by the athleticism and how he was managing his body. And then I saw some interviews in the Greek television, and I saw some teams training in Athens, and I was really carried away by that thing, and I felt like this is what I need to do. This is just my calling. Mm-hmm. This expresses me the most. And I was lucky enough that in my city, in Larissa, in Greece, there was a little team that was starting to form. And I got there, and we started just having the one training session after the other in the city. And every time was a profound experience. I never knew what would come out of it, but it was the brotherhood, it was the movement, it was the adaptability of every session. Like, we learned how to climb the walls, we learned how to overcome the obstacles. Back then, it was before free running was really a thing. Yeah. So flips in our head back then was just like something, maybe I will get to do it one day. Yeah. Before I die or something. Yeah. It was this huge thing that seemed very far away. So we stick to all the basics, like all the precision landing, the balancing, the conditioning for parkour, the vaults, the climbs. And we slowly formed a team, and we called ourselves DFT, was
DFT.
Dragon Fire Team.
Dragon Fire
And we never said what it actually standed for, but so DFT Parkour Team was our name, and we ended up actually like becoming very popular in Greece and doing workshops and traveling around Greece and giving interviews and events. Ended up going to like Greek talent shows, and we also visited Santorini for the Red Bull Art of Motion. So like it expanded quite quickly and gave us I guess a place in the world, not only athletically but also as a lifestyle. And at the same time, I was still continuing my competitive swimming and taekwondo, but I was just living and breathing parkour. I couldn't wait to get out of the classroom, get out of my other training, to go and meet up with the boys and just explore the city. And slowly I started falling in love with, setting goals, physicality, becoming stronger. And that just led me into becoming a whole new person. I really relate when you say that I was also really the shy kid, very low confidence, just didn't want to stand out, didn't want too much attention. But slowly and very surely, parkour really gave me that boost of confidence and self-belief, because every time we went into training, it was just like this new thing that we would overcome, that had fear in the beginning. And, we would see things at different spots and be like, oh, this is a dream, maybe one day. And then, a week, a month, a year later, some of these things became reality, and it just can't be put into words, that feeling. So we really gamified life through parkour, and that transferred to so many other layers as well. And even though maybe today I'm not the most active parkour, I still feel like I do parkour in my everyday life, because that's how I approach, my business. That's how I approach friendship, obstacles. Building a Greek village now is the same. I do parkour with it, and I'm really excited to pass it on through there as well, with building a specific setup. So
I love this perspective of like seeing the parkour in everything. Like parkour, you see it just as the sport, as the jumps, the flips, and the rooftops. But for the people that do it and really deeply fall in love with it, like I heard it from many friends that when I was going through rough times, to when I was going through a bad injury, or times where I just wasn't really doing well mentally, like my friends would always tell me, like it's just like overcoming obstacles. Just those obstacles are either your body physically or in your head, and you just need to work how to fight through them. Just like when you see a scary jump that you want to do, and you have to work your way up to it and find the confidence within yourself that you can successfully complete the jump without hurting yourself. And that translation to real life is a really interesting perspective that not a lot of people from the outside realize ever.
Or will ever get to experience. It gives you a platform of reference and really a philosophy of life, and that's where I got really excited when meeting Keegan and becoming part of his projects and the events, and really immersing myself in the community, seeing the new athlete project now with the 7 archetypes and this philosophy of training for becoming a complete athlete. I see now with my background in parkour, how many similarities there are there in the system, in the philosophy of it, the brotherhood of it. So it is like another way of doing parkour to me, like rediscovering it with a deeper lens, and also as a coach now, seeing the value in how this is. It's a shame not for every man to experience their body like this, and at least give it a chance, really work through both their weaknesses and the strengths.
100%. and how all of these disciplines tie into each other. But before we dive into archetypes, I want to circle back and finish the stories part, to just give you guys more insight of what we've been through on our parkour journey, as well as for myself. I want to even hear more about what your journey was. What year did you start parkour?
So I discovered around, I think, 14, 15 years old. That was the first spark.
Do you remember what year was that? Was that like 2010 maybe?
Yeah, 10, 12.
10.
Wouldn't be
Yeah,
so sure.
yeah. I think you were like the generation before me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear like your generation was the parkour purism. And
Yeah, it
just
was the pure. There was
jumps
a big battle between
yeah,
parkour and free runs. You know, like
yeah. I remember
no flips, only parkour, and
Yeah.
yeah, I'm more in the old school
Yeah.
way of doing things.
Now it's so now it's not so distinct anymore.
Yeah.
But for me it was just the flips. Like we had a big influence in my country as well from coming from Russia.
Yeah.
And all the Russians doing like crazy flips.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's okay.
So what really happened? You talked about the early days, learning the first flips and overcoming fear. But seeing what you do now or videos from what you've done, like you took this to a whole nother level. What's the in between of that for you?
Yeah, the thing was, I finished primary school and I didn't really know what direction I was gonna go afterwards. That was around the same time where I started doing parkour, and around the same time where I kind of found this new sort of eye-opening experience of self-confidence. So I tried for a better school, and I found this school that I really enjoyed, and I didn't really know which direction to take it to, but it seemed like a really interesting school. It was on the other side of the Czech Republic, so I would have to go and live on a boarding school, which was already like quite a scary experience, to like leave the comfort of my home and my parents to go live on my own, and not alone just that, but also try at a school that was quite difficult. And the difficult was the school was kind of focused to prepare me towards working within the emergency system, so like police, army, and that kind of stuff. So we did physical tests, and I remember training so hard. I couldn't do a single pull-up before the test, but this was one of the tests. I remember training pull-ups every single day because I wanted to score good. And in 3 months I was able to, somehow, I don't even know how I managed to do this honestly, but in 3 months I was able to go from 0 pull-ups, and on the test I think I did 17 or 18. Yeah, which was pretty cool. And in the end, yeah, I got accepted to the school, so I left and I moved to a bigger city, and I was living away from my parents, and just moving from a really small town to a bigger city was already a big step, and living with all my classmates, I like made friends, and it was a very different experience of life for me, because I grew up with my dad alone, and he would often be at work, and I would just be at home by myself all the time. So having all of these social interaction with peers and people that were really excited about moving and training a lot, like very sporty oriented, compared to what my classmates were like in a primary school, already made me much more physical. And we had a gym there as well, so that was a cool thing to get into. I started training. First it was more like the bodybuilding style training, but it wasn't really going well with the parkour, and I started having some back pain, and luckily I managed to find a doctor that put me on the right path and told me I should be training only with body weight, and that seemed to help me a lot. And from that moment on, I decided, okay, let's just do parkour. It's much more fun. So I was training for 4 years super hard. We had a great gymnastics gym in the city, and I progressed a lot and made friends as well. Like the friendship within parkour is a massive part of it. Yeah, like having people around you to go out and not feel like the only weirdo who is looking at challenges is massive part of the journey. And the community aspect of parkour is something I really really love and enjoy. And it seems like no matter what I go in the world, if I run into parkour people, I always make friends.
Yeah.
And
we were traveling the world with this, just knowing that a person is doing parkour, they would open their house for us, and we would just sleep on their floors and train all day.
No matter what country they're from and what language they speak. But after during high school, I was so interested, and I was absolutely researching the internet for any parkour information that I could find, and I found Jason Paul and Team Farang, and that became like one of the biggest inspiration on my parkour journey. And watching their videos and vlogs and researching tutorials, there wasn't much stuff in Czech, about parkour, and I wanted to progress so badly, but I didn't understand what they were saying in the video. So that got me interested in, okay, I need to learn English if I want to get better at this sport. So I was like, okay, let's start paying more attention at school. And I kept rewatching the videos and started reading English books. I remember my mom is a librarian, and I hated books because it was always kind of pushed and forced onto me. But yeah, I only started reading books in English. That's like, I really enjoyed that because I was like, okay, I'm doing something good for myself, but I'm also learning a language. Yeah, so I picked up English pretty fast from the moment where I kind of decided to learn it, and I had the motivation behind why I want to learn it. And then the last missing step was, okay, I can understand, I can read, but I can't really speak. And one thing I've kind of learned about myself is like often have to throw myself into the water to swim if I want to do something that kind of is difficult or is a bit scary. And yeah, speaking was one of those things. So I decided to move abroad after high school and not go to uni. And partially because I wanted to learn how to speak English, but also another reason was because I saw these sort of nomadic lifestyles of all the parkour people traveling the world training. And I was like, oh, yeah, I need to make that happen. So I lived in the UK for a year, training and learning English and experiencing what the life is there like. And then I moved to the United States for 3 years.
What age is that now?
I was 18 when I went to the UK and 19 when I went to the States.
Yeah.
And yeah, I lived 1 year in Chicago and 2 years in Los Angeles. And yeah, that was the biggest progress I made. Like the 3 years in the States, I was just so 100% into it. And I had like pretty good environment as well and support around me to be able to do that. Yeah. My host family in Chicago, I was there on an exchange program as an au pair, and I was taking care of the children of the host families in there in order to sort of do this like cultural exchange program. And my youngest host kid was a gymnast, and we had a trampoline in the backyard, and we would just train together all day. It was a great time, and met the local community, and they were super welcoming people. And how I got to LA was I went on a trip there because I saw everybody's training there, and it seems so amazing because the weather is always beautiful, and all the spots are amazing, and Santa Monica with the sand and the bars and the great gyms that they have there with Team Tempest and all of that. So I was really curious to go there. I went there on a holiday for a weekend, and I was like, I need to move here. Like, I feel like this is the next step where I need to go. And when it came to make the decision if I'm gonna either go home or extend for another year, I was like, okay, let's extend and see if I can find a new host family in Los Angeles. And I remember just like spending days just envisioning it in my head, like, yeah, I'm gonna move there, like I'm gonna move to Los Angeles, I'm gonna like be there and meet all of these people and train. And yeah, then it happened. And remember just being there, I was like, whoa, I actually made it out here. Like I remember just like slightly doubting, but knowing that somehow I'm gonna make it out here. And yeah, that those 2 years I was just training so hard, and I met all the pro athletes that I used to watch on the internet, and it was pretty surreal to go through that experience and meet all of these people and train with all of these people. And yeah, I was really pushing myself like super hard. And with parkour, you kind of your own coach, so you need to learn from your own mistakes. And I would say I wasn't really the best at that at times.
Pushing too hard.
Yeah, I pushed way too hard. I would often train twice a day and all day on the weekends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really wanted to go pro at that time and somehow make a living out of it. That's all I wanted to do. And it kind of started working out at one point, but also all that overtraining and lack of listening to my own body and that sort of egoistic eager as well when my social media started doing good, and I sort of started being recognized by the pros. So I just started pushing harder and harder. It's like, oh, my ankle hurts or whatever. I don't have time to rest.
Yeah.
Just let's keep pushing. So then at some point it started being less and less about, oh, I just love to move and I love to express myself physically, and started more being about, oh, like, I need to make money somehow with this if I want to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And it was a very...
Or like earn respect from your peers, or like people you look up to.
That as well. And I tied so much of my identity into the sport. So when my injury happened and I messed up my ankle and kind of lost all of this and had to come back home and go through a surgery, I really went through a dark phase of not really knowing who I am anymore, because I couldn't do all the tricks and cool stuff that I've trained for so hard for so long. And suddenly I wasn't in LA anymore. I was back in my dad's bedroom where I grew up, and I was just, that was a very dark period. But in that dark period kind of shaped me into a different direction. It's when I found Keegan and I found this community of people, and I really started learning more about my own body and my own mindset, and how to push forward and how to heal myself, and what else there is that I can do with my life.
How long ago is that now?
That was about 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
2 years ago, 3 years ago, about 2.5 years ago, yeah. Yeah, I had the surgery at around this time, 2022.
And what's going on now?
What's going on now? Yeah, it was a hard realization of, took me a few months to accept that maybe I won't be able to do parkour anymore. And I feel like that's something I really needed to go through to sort of shift from where I was mindset-wise. And I started studying and learning more, and the rope flow is something that really brought me back from that in a way. And that was sort of my first step into learning more about well-rounded training, just kind of exploring movement, but not just from the parkour perspective, but really opening my mind to everything else. And I always loved circus. Like, it's something that I always found really cool. So I think when I saw Keegan juggling, that's something that really drew me towards what he was talking about, because he wasn't like, he wasn't your typical circus guy. He was like, jacked and doing everything else, but like adding the juggling into it, and he could do handstands and kind of could do all of it. And I think subconsciously I always admired people that are just very physically capable and can do a lot of different things, and sort of being that complete athlete. So when I first got introduced to new athlete, and sort of realizing that, oh, this is the complete athlete, that's when I was like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's what I want to be. And Keegan saw a lot of value in my background, and I was kind of like not even looking at it. I was trying to, in a way, I couldn't really recognize how much value I've learned and had within the sport that I could give to other people. Yeah, I think I was always looking up to the people that were better than me, and always comparing myself to the people that were better than me, and wouldn't really give myself a credit that, oh, there's actually a lot of people that could benefit from the knowledge and the years of training and sharing it with other people that I had. And there's actually a lot that I can offer to other people, even if I'm not the best in the world at parkour. And so I started on this journey of coaching and trying to share this passion for movement that I have with other people. And if I have one hope or one goal for the future generation, or for the people that I could impact and help with, is I would love for everybody to find this mental power within learning new skills and pushing themselves. Like that realization that that I had when I learned how to do a backflip, that can, anybody can experience that by overcoming themselves when they learn a new skill. And it doesn't have to be the backflip, but often can be the backflip, or it can be any other skill that most people will just, when they see something physically impressive, they'll just say, oh, it's not for me, I can't do that.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I can help people come on this journey of actually showing that they can learn these things, and maybe just that first step might unlock so much power in their own personal life for their future, that's something I want to help people with. And I think it's really important. And just reflecting on my own journey, it makes a lot of sense to me. And I see how valuable this project can be on a lot of people, especially after being in this for a few months and helping a couple of people and sharing the experience here in real life. I'm like, that's what we need. That's what the world needs.
100%. Yeah. Wow, man. What a journey.
What a journey. Long story.
What a life.
Long story.
And that's the whole point, feeling alive through the whole part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Listening to you, I'm like nodding my head and really like connecting on so many parts of the journey. Like seeing myself almost, and thinking back to my story of how it all happened, from the early days of just watching YouTube videos of parkour and just pressing pause on every frame of the video to just analyze the movement, see the techniques of each thing, and then just running out, to the closest spots to just try things out, or being with the brothers that we were training with back then, and just there was nothing that was not parkour oriented in our conversation, in our movement, and everything was around movement and around training. And you felt that belonging, and that we never did things to show off or get credit, or it all came from the heart, and that brought us to these profound experiences of being exposed to a lot of people and standing in front of big crowds and doing what we love. And within that, there was moments where you got injured. You got challenged in like, okay, now that I can run, jump, who am I? What do I do? And I, like a bit fast forward in my parkour journey and story. Like after school, in Greece, I finished and I moved to Copenhagen. Mm-hmm. I'm half Greek, half Danish, and I went there to have a better future. And I started a sports school, and within that school, we ended up like coaching in CrossFit, mountain bike, swimming, running, climbing, and within those elements was also parkour. That year I had the most profound year. That's when I fell in love in, I can share this passion while I also teach it myself, and I can make a living from what I love. So that was like my entry into it until I had an accident. I broke my kneecap. I couldn't walk for 6 months, and I couldn't bodyweight squat for over a year. I thought I completely lost everything, went into a very dark period in my life. But looking back now, I can see that this darkness has been the biggest gift. Yeah. Because it taught me to work around things. It taught me and learned to invest in myself as an identity, as something that stays through time, and not only how I look, how I perform. And that's been a very rewarding journey. And that also opened up, because parkour really gave me that mindset and that lens of, I have my hands, I have my legs, I want to use them. I want to explore every range of motion. I want to explore every movement I can use and do with my body, and really just experience life at the highest potential. Live a heightened human experience. Whether that's called parkour or capoeira, I don't care. So once I had a limit in my knee, I was like, okay, let's get into handstands. I can use my hands. Okay, I can start learning guitar. I can get into climbing. And that just opened up this huge world for me. that still has had to do with physical expression.
Yeah.
And slowly but surely just collecting more and more pieces of the human puzzle in terms of movement, and becoming more and more diverse as a mover. That's when Ito Portal also stepped into my life, and I saw, his philosophy and his lens, and everything made so much sense to me. And that began just living my life through a completely different lens. It's not training 3 times a week, 2 hours in a gym. It is like when I open my eyes, I'm in my body.
Yeah.
And I'm in my body till I close my eyes and go to bed, So it's practice, everything. I just try to be aware throughout my whole day in whatever I do.
Yeah, the physicality is so important. Like, we are born with this one body that we have for the whole life. And it's just sad to see people completely overlook that and sort of even imagine to live out of the physical world and not try to work on this amazing physical instrument they were giving at birth.
Yeah.
And
yeah, like leveling up your body is the best game you can play.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a real life video game. You are the character.
100%. 100%. And moving out of the injury and actually healing myself, that got me in touch with Knees Over Toes guy, and I was looking for ways to heal myself so I can continue do what I love. And that's when I also saw that Keegan's work, and I saw that, okay, this is something completely different. Back then I moved from Greece to Denmark. I studied there, finished my studies, trained, became a parkour coach, did that for 4 years. And then I sold everything. I quit my studies, dropped out of university twice, healed a bunch of injuries along the way. It's a long story. And then I sold everything and just bought a van, converted it into a calisthenics mobile gym, and I decided that's it. This is the life I want to live.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be rich in experiences and not in routine.
Yeah.
So I was living out of my van for 6 years, traveling Greece, teaching calisthenics and parkour along the way, exploring my beautiful country. And that's when I also got into Uncommon Success. That's what it was called back then, by Keegan. And I finally found again that brotherhood, that team that we had doing parkour.
Yeah.
And finding people that believed in you when you maybe didn't believe in yourself. And that accountability, that bigger picture, that vision, and just that ambition for achieving big things in life and having a standard for yourself. And that changed the game completely for me. And I got out of a lot of bad habits I had back then, from smoking weed and really just doing things that was numbing, kind of the responsibilities of life.
Yeah.
And I did a 180 turn, and since then I haven't looked back, and really standing proud. So being part of Keegan's network and meeting him in person, I would never have thought, that I would be building my own village now in Greece, and be achieving my dream of building an online business and being location independent, and meeting all these beautiful people along the way, like having the time here with you.
Yeah, being free.
Which
Yeah,
I think in the end is a state of mind. Like everyone, even you watching this now, you can be free. It's a state of mind. It takes work, but it's not, I think, the money that will give you that. It is really what parkour taught me, that freedom. And that's why I think if you don't have all the answers for what you want to do in your life, start with your body, and that will give you all the answers. All the belief in yourself and all the courage. Again, like coming back to the example of the backflip or the handstand, or the limiting belief about the skill that you think now you will never get, is the whole point. Because what happens when you get it? What's the next thing?
You're just looking for the next thing. What's the next thing I can learn? What's the next thing that I didn't think I could do that I can actually do?
Exactly.
When I set my mind to it, and
it starts with the compounding effect.
And it starts with the physical world. Like, it's the easiest way to start. It's the easiest way to prove yourself wrong in a way that you can do something that you think you can't, and then you can take it as far as you want to. But that's what the New Athlete Project is about. that's what I see. Like, and it makes a lot of sense to really embrace the physical side and build a body that will serve you for life, but the body also will impact your mind in a way that then the mind, you can take it to wherever you want to take it, and break away from what society and the system kind of tells you of, you can't do this, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, it's all in the head, and it's so crazy to realize and sort of meet more people that even talk about these topics,
Yeah.
that I have never even realized before, like growing up with how much we are impacted by in a way the system, or by what
The
the
environment,
people
yeah.
do and tell you, or tell you that you can't do. And it starts in the physical world, and
Yeah. But unfortunately, the physical world and the fitness industry has taken a turn, in my eyes at least,
yeah,
that's very poor in its development. You know, people think that athleticism is reps and sets, or weights that progresses, but there's way more to the human body than just that.
and we try to systemize that physical training so much with programs and, like you said, sets and reps and everything, but in its essence, it's all movement. Your training, your sort of your physical expression shouldn't be just conserved to like 1 hour a day where you go to the gym. Okay, this is when I move, and rest of the day I don't. It's
exactly.
like,
yeah, that's where I think you will agree with parkour bringing or really maintaining that childlike joy of playfulness, of exploration, of curiosity.
Yeah.
And I think the beauty in that is also how Keegan built the new athlete system by observing his kid, Eden, and really seeing like, okay, wow, he's learning so much, and I can definitely prove to that by seeing Eden in August and 2 months later now in October, how he's moving already like an elite baby, literally, just by getting exposed to so much different stimulus.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting to see the development of that kid, well, that would say, but also the concept behind that, which is the new athlete system.
Yeah.
Having that differential approach. Like in parkour, we would never, do one jump 1,000 times. We would do 1,000 jumps 1,000 different ways.
Yeah.
And that would just bring us that adaptability, that awareness of the environment, because that's just the default of it. You never go into, maybe sometimes you go to the same spot, but maybe you never train the same thing at that spot.
Yeah, I mean, it gets boring if you do the same thing.
Exactly.
You always want to find the new possibilities there.
Yeah.
When people ask me how do you start parkour, I like to tell them, you already know. Just remember what you did when you were a kid, because when you're a kid and just go explore the world and climb on things and go to a playground and go to a forest. That's parkour. You're already doing parkour. It's just as we grow up, we stop doing these things because everybody else around us stops doing these things.
Everything gets more and more boxed.
Yeah. So parkour is returning to the origin, to the base form of who we are when we are born.
That's beautiful.
And trying to embrace that side, and a new athlete and the whole project and the whole philosophy behind it goes into more depth with it as well. It brings the other sports. It brings the joy of moving rocks and playing with balls and jumping up and down and dancing as well. Like,
exactly.
Connecting all the sports together is massive and is huge, and it's something that the world of athleticism and the world of sport is missing so much. We're trying to systemize everything and put everything into these boxes of you do this and you do that.
Yeah.
And a new athlete is trying to do the opposite, is trying to let you explore and do all of it, and
also by doing the other things, what you want to do, you will improve.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, because you're not
playing that bigger game.
Playing a bigger game and building a bigger base within your own body and within your capabilities, and also you never know what you don't know. Maybe you think that basketball is your thing, but you've never tried anything else. You can't know if you actually like something more.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love challenging myself with even doing the things that I know that I didn't really enjoy, but as I do them more, I kind of realize that I didn't really enjoy them because I really suck at them. And sometimes, or maybe you just need to get through the phase of being really bad at something before you can enjoy it.
Yeah.
And not getting too hard on yourself with the fact that you're not actually good at something is huge. Is huge. Embracing the fact that you're not good at something, and it even enhances that mindset of you can learn and you can do whatever you want with your life if you just try.
Exactly.
And I think trying and actually starting something is something that a lot of people are missing or scared of.
Yeah.
That first step, that first 5 minutes of doing something are usually the hardest.
Yeah, we're kind of programmed to want or need to be good immediately, but nothing works like that. Nothing works like that in nature.
Yeah.
And the beauty in that is being exposed to being the beginner again, and that's also where the biggest development exists.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So let's dive into the archetypes since we already kind of started it. And the 7 archetypes of new athlete is the first 3 ones are the skill based one. It's the acrobat, it's the bowler, and it's the combat dancer.
Yeah.
Combat dancer. It's because dancing and fighting is very intertwined.
Yeah.
Very connected to each other.
Yeah.
Even though you can look at a ballet dancer and an MMA fighter and you're like, how are they connected? But when you watch the best fighters, how they move, it's very rhythmic movement. It's very light on their toes and very playful and expressive in that way.
Yeah. So that's the first 3.
That's the first 3. So
the next we have the fastest, the giant,
and the endurer,
the enduro athlete. Yeah. And the last one we have the healthy yogi.
Yeah. It kind of ties into the 3 main pillars of what even the new athlete is. It's the health, it's the skill, and the force. So the endurer, giant, and the fastest, it's the force categories.
Yeah.
And they all kind of connect into each other in some way or another.
Yeah. You're never only just one archetype. You can take a football player. So many football players, they do a round of backflip, at the end of after the score. Yeah. They definitely have that footwork. They definitely have that dancer in them, or that martial arts is the way they move on the field. So what would happen if they actually dive deeper into play that bigger game, like Maradona or other people that actually, dive deep into that? And the same goes for the other categories.
Yeah.
And this is where I think, having practiced parkour, it's really interesting to see. Okay, in parkour, what part of the 7 archetypes are really being practiced, and why, as parkour athletes, we have such an advantage when we step into a new sport.
Yeah.
And anytime I've thought of answering this, I've come back to the bigger the game you play, the bigger of the physical intelligence you develop. So I understand the mechanics of my body. So just by watching a video or a person move, I can very quickly decode, what movements are needed to
happen,
to be developed.
Yeah.
And being a coach myself, that gives me an extra advantage, let's say, to decode a few things or see, okay, where are the biggest return of investments in order to perform or unlock certain movements. And that's also what new athlete is doing. Yeah.
Coming from parkour, you just build such a great base of awareness of where you are in the air and where your body is in space, and that transfers into other sports super greatly. And I guess in a way, a lot of parkour people are self-taught, and I don't know if it was the same for you, but I would film myself a lot and analyze my movement from a third perspective a lot. So. Yeah. That gives like this extra edge of understanding what's happening from the inside from what I see from my perspective when I'm doing a certain movement, but I also analyze it from the third perspective because I also coach myself. I not only train myself, but I also coach myself. And I think that in other sports, I don't think this is very common in other sports.
No, exactly. Yeah, a lot of athletes kind of just step in, do their training, then go home, and then it's Netflix or just relax, get ready for the next game or the next training.
Yeah, yeah. We have this big topic of differential learning within new athlete, and basically what it means is you. How would you explain it?
So the differential approach is basically by exposing yourself to different approaches of the same movement,
Yeah.
it teaches you to adapt in any kind of situation. And because you build that bigger and wider range of understanding and awareness of a certain movement, it helps you perform better, faster.
Yeah, yeah, but it's very easy to explain with the juggling example. When you're juggling three balls, instead of just drilling that same pattern and try to find the perfection within that one pattern, it's much more useful to actually extend that pattern and make it harder for yourself to like throw the balls higher, wider, small, like lower and faster, or slower and higher, and try to close one eye and just put a difference into, like, make the repetition, the one thing that you're doing, really challenging.
Yeah.
So when you come back to the base form of the movement, it's actually a lot easier because
it feels like slow motion.
Yeah, because you've done the harder variations of it. And parkour, in essence, is very differential, because when we go out train, we are very dependent on the environment where we're going, and the environment is always different. The walls are always different distance apart, and you don't really know exactly, or their angle, the surface is different. So in essence, when you go practice parkour, it's already quite differential. I think that kind of even pushes the sort of the bias that parkour builds a great base for other sports, because you're using your own body and you are already doing this differential approach within it. But of course it can be made more differential, but yeah.
But it is that whole approach of never doing the same thing twice.
Yeah, and it's also not really fun to just grind the reps, you know.
Yeah, I think it kind of kills that joy.
Yeah.
You know, that childlike state we were talking about. Watching Keegan's baby Eden, not even 2 years old, like never does one thing twice, but he develops himself way more and way faster. And we're also a living example of doing that later in life, having a similar effect in terms of athleticism and sport. And in the end of the day, it is about also just feeling alive with what you do, enjoying what you do, having fun with it.
Yeah.
Whether you're a pro or you're just training for health.
Yeah.
So the new athlete system is really bringing a breath of fresh air, and it really excites me to see what this will bring as the evolution of a new way of training and redefining.
And the connection in between different sports is something very exciting, because it's like the soccer players hang out with the soccer players, and the basketball players hang out with the basketball players, and the parkour guys hang out with the parkour guys. But
what would happen if all these people came together and actually shared
the knowledge from these sports, and shared the skills, and embraced all of them? Like, what kind of athlete would become out of that?
Yeah.
Right? And like, you have the sports clubs and the great universities where they train for all these sports. Can you imagine that there's like a new athlete university where everybody is welcome, all the sports together, mixed together?
Yeah. And new athlete coaches, new athlete gyms, new athlete events and locations.
Yeah, just like training like this, training all of it, and then coming into your sport that you enjoy the most, and how would this massive broad generalization of skill of embracing all of the sports for 1 year, 2 years, even for 3 months, and then coming into your own sport with this fresh perspective and with so much outside knowledge of doing other things, how would that impact your own sport, and how much of a bigger game you could play? It's something that I'm really excited to see in the future, and really curious how this message and this project is gonna impact that.
Yeah, I know with certainty that it's something that's gonna completely change the game, and you kind of see an evolution already now in the way people train, that they're hungry for more. That's why, hybrid training came up, and that's why CrossFit came in years back, and this is like the next wave that kind of opens broader horizons even more for developing a more complete athlete, a more complete human along the way. So yeah, grateful and excited to be alive in these times and be part of this early days of this movement, man. This is really something special.
Yeah.
Sure, we could probably be talking a lot more hours.
yeah, we could. I think since, you know, the acrobat archetype is kind of our specialization, I think we should dive a little bit deeper into that then, and maybe give more of a perspective of how you would even approach to start training this sort of archetype and where it kind of comes from. So like if you look at children growing up, and it's when they first come out and try to stand and fight the gravity, it's all about like balance, like learning how to walk and crawl. It's all about balance. So that's where it starts. You challenge yourself with balance and try to find a playful state of balancing. Like, you know, next time you go out for a walk, just try to look for opportunities where you can balance on a curb or on a wall, on a railing.
You can even start it now just by standing up, standing on one leg, closing your eyes. How long can you stay there for? Try and look up to the ceiling, see how long you can stay, to develop these more high-tech feet.
Yeah. It starts with the feet. The feet are the balancing part, but you can also balance on the hands.
Yeah, that's the fun of it. Like, you can really explore that potential, and from the balance, the feet, it also goes into the crawling. Before you learn to walk, you're on all fours, and that crawling basic pattern can develop into, you know, more acrobatic movements. More soft acrobatics, cartwheels.
Being more connected with the floor.
Exactly.
It's something that once we learn how to walk, we stay away from the floor. We use the chairs, we use the car, the toilets. You hardly ever just sit on the floor. So just spending more time on the floor is something that's going to help you develop better wrists, better core, better coordination.
The mobility comes as a natural thing. I've never really trained for mobility and flexibility in my life, but just because I've practiced and moved close to the ground through my different practices, I've gotten, you know, a lot of mobility through that. And taking the 4 crawl pattern into higher obstacle, we suddenly have parkour vaults, you know, overcoming obstacles in efficient ways that can turn into flows that almost becomes more like a dance slowly as you dance with your environment. So there's this natural progression. The same like if we go from the ground world to the higher world, before we start doing our weighted pull-ups or our muscle-ups, you know, we first learn to develop the strength of hanging. Okay, so after hanging, what is that? Then we have our brachiation, our swinging patterns. That develops our shoulder health, our grip strength, our coordination and body air awareness.
Getting the feet into the bar as well. Just the whole task of lifting the feet towards the bar to help yourself to, you know, make the hang easier. Is something that's really going to develop your core. Like it takes a lot of coordination in the core to just get the feet up, and it takes some weight off of the hang and synchronizes the upper and the lower body within it. And it's already a massive base, and you don't need any programming for it. You just do it.
I think a lot of people unfortunately need some form of programming or like guidance and direction, just because we're taught and programmed to have these tangible results. So it's good, but developing that playful approach.
But what I mean with programming, like in a sense, like crawl 10 meters, you know, just set a timer. And if you can, you know, within the app we'll be sharing more examples of the movements that you can actually do and explore and really try to break it down into like very easy levels of what you can do, and then you just set a timer and you repeat those movements and
I think
if the movement doesn't look exactly the same like my one, that's the beauty of it. Like sometimes
different limbs, different legs, different.
Sometimes if you make a mistake, it's maybe not a mistake. It's a lucky accident that you discover a new movement because there's no rules.
I think coming back to the programming, it's also might agree on not needing a programming. What we need is a community, you know, because nowadays you can open ChatGPT or YouTube. You can movement is anywhere. Like I see this goat, how it moves around, and I get inspiration. But the thing is that we need to, or it's good to be wanting to challenge our ways. And that's where the power of community is so strong.
And surrounding yourself with people that are already doing this is gonna make it much easier for you to approach it, because you're not gonna feel like, oh, I'm the only one out of the pack.
Exactly.
That's doing this different thing. Like,
and that's where, tying back to where we started, we're in Montenegro. We just had a full week of many hours of daily training and exploring this new athlete system with a bunch of other brothers from all different parts of the world, really putting into practice the brotherhood and the differential new athlete system of training and practice. And I'm lucky and grateful to be meeting you with having such a different and similar background at the same time, and really connecting through movement. See if the goats throw down the camera.
not.
So that brings us to also us sharing our love and passion around, I guess, more of the parkour acrobatic side. We're talking about merging our powers and making an event together in spring in Greece. For anyone interested.
I'm very excited to go visit the village, and we want to share this archetype that's very deep to us and very close to us within the acrobatics. So we'll be teaming up with teaming up to make a workshop in May with Jonathan, and we'll be very excited to see you there and share it with any of you that are still listening at this point.
Yeah. I think it's good. We round this up. What do you say?
Yeah, we'll see you in Greece.
Let's see each other online in Greece, in Montenegro, all over the world. This just bring movement and joy back to our life.
Yeah.
And thanks for listening all this way through if you have. Otherwise, see you around. Enjoy.
Thanks for the chat.
Nice.